The word Immanuel means God with us. Not just God out there, not just God everywhere, but O come, Immanuel, God with us. There was a moment in history where God, the Son of God, Jesus, emptied himself of his power and glory, and he came into the world as a little baby. He put on human flesh, and when people saw Jesus, they could actually see what God was like, hear what God would say, see what God would do, feel the comfort that God would give. Now, I didn't walk on earth in those days when Jesus did, but there's people that did, and they walked with him, and they wrote down everything that he told them to say and do. They wrote down what they had learned, and we still have what they've written today. So this song is longing for Jesus. O come, Immanuel, and ransom captive Israel. Ransom captive Israel. The word Israel is just a way to describe the whole nation, the whole people of Israel. God promised to work through those people to bless the whole world, and it was through the Israelites that Jesus came. But the Israelites, over and over again throughout history, were taken into slavery or into captivity. They were taken captive by the Egyptians, by the Babylonians, by the Romans. Just in the Bible, we learn of those 3 captive seasons for the Israelites. The truth is, all of us are captive to sin. The Bible says, we have all turned away from God. We have all been corrupted. Together we've become corrupt, a good thing gone bad. And so, this song is saying, ransom captive Israel. It's talking about anyone who is captive to sin, or a slave to sin. That means everyone. And ransom captive Israel. Now the word ransom actually means to buy back, to give something in order to set someone free. So if I am driving around a parking garage and it's one of those places where you have to pay and you try to get out, there's a gate there and you can't get out. You are a captive of the parking garage until you give them some money and then the gate goes up. And Jesus came not just to be a comfort to us, but to give up his life, to pay with his death on the cross, so that we could be set free from sin. Ransom captive Israel. Let's sing it from the beginning. O come, O come. O come, Immanuel, and ransom captive Israel. That mourns in lonely exile here. How would you feel if you were taken captive? If you were sent away from your family or held back, separated from your friends, how would you feel? You would be sad. You would mourn. The word mourn means to be sad. That mourns in lonely exile here. The word exile means to be separated from your home and your family and your friends. To be alone in a land that is not your home. The Bible says God made a place for us to be with him. And he called it the Garden of Eden. And he walked with the very first humans and they enjoyed good friendship. But when they chose to pursue their own desire and to ignore God's direction, they were separated from God. They were exiled from the garden. It's a lonely place, but we all feel it. Even now, we feel how the world is not the way it was meant to be. We long for friendship that doesn't end. We long to know the Lord and not sort of feel like he's always hard to know. So, this says, that mourns in lonely exile here until the Son of God appear. The thing is, we are in exile because of our sin, and we cannot work our way up to God. That's what every religion of the world says you should do. Work your way up to God by doing good things. But the gospel, the good news of Jesus, is that God has come to be with us. Immanuel means God with us. Not that we worked our way to God, but God has come to us to set us free. Because we don't just need to try harder. We need a totally new way of loving and knowing what is true. We need His life, and we need Him to do that work from the inside out. Let's sing it all the way through. O come, O come. O come, Immanuel, and ransom captive Israel that mourns in lonely exile here until the sun